When I was a kid, I had a strong thought that I wanted to learn from the mistakes of others, so I didn't have to make them on my own. And I wanted to learn why one had success with something and the other didn't. So I focused to learn the skills of listening and observing when I was very young. Because you are watching this video, you probably have an open mind too, to learn from others who are successful. In my search I found that the question how to become successful is a question that comes around a lot on the internet. As I have noticed, it is not a big mystery, but it seems that it's more of a mindset and focus game. This is a lesson a lot of great famous and rich people tell us all the time, but then in their own way. Let's hear what some famous and successful people share with us to help in our thinking process.
Here's the goal, and whatever it takes to get there, I will do. Everyone would say this is the wrong direction that I'm going, or I'm in a dream world, that I'm useless. Whatever it was, I said, I'm going to break through that. No matter what it takes, I needed to reach that goal, that vision that I had of being a world champion. Think big, because then you're going to get big. Then you're going to go and achieve big things. That is the most important thing. We don't achieve big things by accident. So shoot for the top, shoot for the sky, shoot for the, for the stars. The other thing is that you got to work your butt off. If you think that you're going to go and accomplish something really special and be the best in anything in the world, and you think you can do it without working, you make a big mistake. Because no matter what I did, if it was in bodybuilding or in acting or if it is in the political arena, it always took a lot of work. Afraid to fail. Because if you're afraid to fail, then you're always holding yourself back because you're afraid that if you go all out, you may fail. Well, in weightlifting, we learned that very quickly. The only way you could break a record is if you're willing to fail. That's when you put on more weight, you try it, sometimes you maybe you would not be able to lift it, which has happened to me many times, but eventually, when you train hard enough, you will lift it. So don't be afraid to fail. I mean, how far can you fall? Focus. The key thing is to be focused. Visualize your goal. And I saw myself standing up there on the stage just like Reg Park, and it became more and more clear. Arnold, you got to go.
How can other people tap dance to work? What's the secret of that?
You find your passion. You find your passion. I was very, very lucky to find it, when I was 7 or 8 years old, and fortunately, my children have found their passion. One son loves farming like nothing else. One son loves music like everything else, and all three of them love philanthropy and what they get to do. You're lucky in life when you find it, and you can't guarantee you're going to find it in your first job out. But I always tell the college students that come out, I say, take the job that you would take if you were independently wealthy. You're going to do well at it. It never bothered me if people disagreed with what I thought, as long as I felt I knew the facts. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things I don't know a thing about. I just stay away from those. So I stay within what I call my circle of competence. And Tom Watson said it best. He said, I'm no genius, but I'm smart in spots, and I stay around those spots. Well, I try and stay around those spots, and I just don't have a problem if somebody says, you're wrong on something. I go back and look at the facts, and I think that really is much more important, frankly, than having a few points of IQ or having an extra course or two in school or anything of the sort. You need emotional stability. Read and read and read. I probably read 5 to 6 hours a day. I don't read as fast now as when I was younger, but I read 5 daily newspapers. I read a fair number of magazines. I read 10Ks. I read annual reports, and I read a lot of other things too. So I've always enjoyed reading. I love reading biographies. Capitalism's all about somebody coming and trying to take the castle. Now, what you need is a castle that has some durable competitive advantage, some castle that has a moat around it. And that moat, one of the best moats in many respects, is to be a low-cost producer. But sometimes the moat is just having more talent. I mean, if you're the heavyweight champion of the world and you keep knocking out people, you've got a competitive advantage as long as you can keep doing it. Ben Graham, in his low teens, looked around and he looked at the people he admired, And he said, I want to be admired, so why don't I just behave like them? And he found there was nothing impossible about behaving like them.
If you're going to start a company, it takes so much energy that it better overcome your feeling of risk. I'm in meetings a lot. My calendar gets very full with those, and then at night, after the kids have gone to bed, I'm on email a great deal. I get messages during the day. That's my chance to give long responses. And then over the weekend, I send a lot of mail as well. I talk to my dad. I talk to Warren. I talk to my wife, Melinda. So I have enough people that know me and actually know where my judgment isn't its strongest, where I might get overexcited about something or forget to think about something. And so they're good at correcting, particularly Melinda, good at correcting whatever those blind spots are. And I think it's good to encourage your friends and advisors to really give them that license. The key point there is you've got to enjoy what you do every day. And for me, that's working with very smart people. It's working on new problems. Every time we think, hey, we've had a little bit of success, we're pretty careful not to dwell on it too much because the bar gets raised. The key point there is you've got to enjoy what you do every day. And for me, that's working with very smart people. It's working on new problems. Every time we think, hey, we've had a little bit of success, we're pretty careful not to dwell on it too much because the bar gets raised.
Things from movies. I learned how to make a speech from the movie called Bodyguard, Whitney Houston. When she sings the songs, I look at her, wow, that's the way that you make a speech, because I never know how to make speech, because I'm not an actor. But when I saw the movie, I say, wow, if you sing from your heart, if you sing naturally, if you are yourself. So I realized, and I learned a lot from the movies, even learned from the Godfathers. I learned, my favorite movie is Forrest Gump,
But whether yes or no, everything based on the mission that will helping doing business easier. If it's on that, we will consider.
When I started, I think internet is global. We should have a global name. And a name that, interesting, like at that time, the best name is Yahoo. Right, so I've been thinking for many days, suddenly thinking Alibaba is a good name. So I happened to be in San Francisco that day. I did have a lunch, and the waitress came. I asked her, do you know about Alibaba? She said, yes. I said, what is Alibaba? She said, Open Sesame. Good. So I went on the street, asked about 10, 20 people. They all know about Alibaba, 40 Thieves, and Open Sesame. And I think this is a good name.
One, employee number two, shareholder number three.
Customer one, employee two, shareholder
number
three.
Yeah, again, this is my religion. It's the customer that pays us the money.
Most people complain where the opportunity is. People start complaining. Some people complain. People start to change themselves, change others. Where the opportunity is where the complaints are. Where the trouble, where is the opportunity. And I always believe that.
Third failure in a row. Did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up. I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated.
Liking what you do, whatever area that you get into, given that even if you're the best, there's always a chance of failure. So I think it's important that you really like whatever you're doing. If you don't like it, life is too short.
I would encourage you to take risks now. Do something bold. You won't regret it. Well, you want to do, and particularly if you're starting a company, you need to work super hard. So what does super hard mean? Well, when my brother and I were starting our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch. And we showered at the YMCA, and we're so hot up we had one computer. So the website was up during the day, and I was coding at night. 7 days a week, all the time. On signal over noise. A lot of companies get confused. They spend money on things that don't actually make the product better. For example, at Tesla, we've never spent any money on advertising. We put all of the money into R&D and manufacturing and design to try to make the car as good as possible. I think that's the way to go.